Nation, Mr. X here. So the last couple of weeks I've been talking to you guys about how to pass the NSS qual. And I've been speaking to you guys about what I think the most important fundamental is, and that is trigger control. Well, the first week we talked about effort, which is the amount of effort that you apply to the trigger. And what I do is I will, in order to shoot accurately, got my polymer right here. As you guys can see, the chamber is empty. Whenever I do this, don't even need to aim at a target. I'm not worried about sights or anything. All I'm worried about doing is applying effort to the trigger. And literally that means I will pull 1 pound of weight out of the trigger at a time. 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds, 4 pounds. And you guys will see that instead of jerking it all at once and that gun moving, if I do that and I really isolate that 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds, 4 pounds, it will be a smoother trigger pull. And I'm less likely to pull those sights off the target. Effort, number 2, I just said it even though I involved it with the first one, is isolation. I isolate the trigger. I have a little grip thing that I will literally squeeze and isolate the trigger finger away from the grip. You guys see that? If I don't do that, my fingers will literally move, and any type of movement at all will translate to that firearm and will move those sights off target. The third thing I want to cover, like I said, number 1, effort. Number 2, isolation. Number 3 is direction. You guys want to make sure that you guys move that trigger straight into the rear every time. I hear this all the time. People will apply their finger to the trigger, and hopefully you can see that, and they'll say that it needs to be on that perfect portion right there. I don't think that's true, personally, in my opinion. But what I will say is, if you are fairly new, if you don't have thousands and thousands of rounds down range, it does make sense. But I see a lot of outstanding shooters do this drill, and it doesn't matter how much finger they put in there, whether it's there or there, as long as you make sure you pull that trigger straight to the rear every time, then you're not going to pull those rounds off target. What I see with beginner shooters is if they don't have enough finger in the trigger, and hopefully you guys can see this if I'm straight on, they don't have enough finger on the trigger, what happens is they push, that gun will move to that side, and then it'll pull that way if they have too much finger in the trigger. So be very aware of this whenever you shoot, and as long as it's straight into the rear every time, shouldn't move your sights off target. So like I said, if there's not enough finger, it's going to move to the left, to the right as you guys are watching it. And then if it's too much, as you move it, it's going to move that way. So experiment with this, everybody. Get out there, actually take a look, and really perfect moving that trigger finger straight into the rear every time as you're isolating the trigger finger, as you're providing just enough effort to break that trigger. And if you do all 3 of those, and honestly, you don't even have to be on target. You can do it. You can sit on the couch. You can watch TV. Make sure that pistol's clear. And you can just sit there and really put emphasis on moving that trigger straight to the rear. Isolating it away from your hand. Applying just enough effort. 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds, 4 pounds, until that trigger breaks. And I think if you do this drill, dry fire, you know, when you sit down in front of the TV every evening, or when you wake up in the morning, you know, eating breakfast, pick up the gun, or whatever thing that you're doing, chilling out. You know, the cool thing is, whenever I really started, you know, putting time and effort into my trigger pull, or my trigger, or my pistol marksmanship, I was overseas and I shot rifles all the time. But when I came back, I was going through a Special Forces CQB school, when they put a lot of emphasis on shooting pistols. So I trained overseas, and every time I went to chow, before I went to chow, as long as we weren't out on missions or something, I would dry fire in my room. I had a little 1-inch pasty, and I would do so many reps every day before breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And by the time I got home, got back from the States, and went to this school, I had no problem shooting pistol. So next week, I'm going to put all this stuff together, and we'll take you guys to the range and show you all this works. But before then, dry fire, practicing what? Your effort, isolation, and direction. And yeah, see you guys next week.